How many of you were really excited to learn about the snake part? Yeah, that's what I remember. That's what I took out of that whole thing, is that watch where you walk. There's snakes. Here's what we're going to go over today. Don't spend your time reading it. That's what I'm here to talk about. Before I jump into the content, I want to share a quick story with you about the first difficult conversation that I can remember wanting to avoid. I'm in 9th grade, and I am in my high school orchestra. And I have just gotten my first job at a donut shop. And in my house, the way I grew up, if you wanted to have nice shoes and nice clothes, well, you better get a job. So I was really excited to get this new gig. Well, as fate would have it, they scheduled me for a deep clean the same night as our orchestra concert. And I didn't know how to navigate this particular conversation. I mean, we've been working for months on this piece, and I also wanted new shoes and Z Cavaricci jeans. And I went home and I asked my mom and dad, I said, Mom, Dad, I've been scheduled to work the same night as my concert. What should I do? And in vintage Dan and Naomi fashion, those are my folks, they said, well, sounds like your problem. Why don't you go talk to your teacher? So Monday morning, I walked into Mr. Ryan's office at 7:15, 15 minutes before the first bell. And I said, Mr. Ryan, I need to talk to you about something. I have been scheduled to work the same night as our concert. And I don't know what to do about that. And Mr. Ryan looked at me, and he probably delivered one of the greatest lines that I've ever heard in my entire life. He looked right at me and he said, you will never remember your shift at the donut shop. You will always remember playing in this concert. That is a line that I have used more than 100 times because I've spent the last 20 years coaching youth hockey. And when high school kids come to me and they want to get out of a game because they want to take a shift, I hit them with that line. And look, Mr. Ryan was right. I didn't take the shift at the donut shop. I played in that concert, and to this day, Antoine Dvorak's Symphony No. 9 in E minor is one of my favorite pieces to listen to. I just wish I could still play it. But what I've learned is that most of us skip the concert, and we take the shift at the donut shop. And not because we need more donuts or the money that comes with the job. No, because we would rather avoid that difficult conversation. So I've spent the last 5 years diving into the weeds of conversations, especially avoided conversations. And what I have learned is this. There are 3 truths about every hard conversation. Here's the first one. They almost always come with some level of anxiety. Are there any other anxious people in the room besides me? We can have a support group after if you need. Yeah, man, when I gotta have a hard conversation, I get pretty anxious about it. Here's the second one. They're almost always with people we're gonna have to see again. And so we can't just throw a grenade in the conversation because we're going to be on a Zoom session with Becky next week. Or we're going to be in a project with Jim next month. But here's the third truth about these difficult conversations. Some people have absolutely no issues having these difficult conversations. And you might be in the room here today. There may be people in the room here today who have said, I have absolutely no issues having these difficult conversations. So what do they know? What do these guys know that the others don't? It's simple. They choose clarity over comfort. They've figured out that it's better to know what's next. They've also figured out that there is a cost to avoiding the difficult conversation.